You're watching Time Warner Cable's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance, and we are joined today by Char Miller. He is a professor at Pomona College, specializing in the study of wildfires, which, boy, is on our minds today.
It is.
In the month of August, the Rocky Fire in Northern California, called historic, unprecedented.
Yes.
Is that hyperbolic, or
It's
is that
hyperbolic.
Okay, but
we've had bigger fires.
we have.
But it burned hot. Burned really fast, and I think part of what firefighters were talking about that fire in August was the unpredictability of that fire. They didn't know what it was going to do.
Why?
Well, because in part our ways of thinking about fire are dedicated to a different weather pattern, and so we expect it to do one thing, but that's not what it does.
Why?
And so suddenly, why? Climate change is transforming it.
Why?
We've got some great questions.
Right.
So partly it's about climate change and climate transforming landscapes with drought. The drought is producing much drier conditions. Put that with fire, put that with high winds, put that with high temperatures and low humidity, and you have a cauldron, effectively.
And what's interesting to me, as a simpleton, if I may say, is that in July, I remember we had rains.
Yes.
And we were all celebrating.
Yes, we were.
But then I learned that the rains caused a little growth of foliage. Which quickly dried up.
Absolutely.
And then added to the fuel.
Right. All one has to do is look at one's yard, and you'll understand the dilemma. That brief spurt of rain was great for a brief moment, and now you've got more growth and more depth. And so you've got more fuel.
What about the lightning strikes we've been hearing and seeing? I understand that is also quite problematic.
It is problematic, although not so much in Southern California yet.
Because?
Because we don't tend to get a lot of lightning here.
I see.
But in Northern California, where those strikes hit in the Sierra and the Cascades, that's been the generator. Most of our fires in Southern California are human caused.
So as we head towards the winter, we understand we may be facing an El Nino. And for argument's sake, how do the fires that have been burning this summer play if we hit the El Nino?
Well, that's disaster.
It is.
And part of the, I mean, as folks in Glendora and elsewhere know, these foothill communities are at the front line of that disaster, because when rain hits burned over terrain, there is nothing to stop it from moving downhill, and moving downhill fast. And when it comes down, it goes through these canyons, all of those debris flows. Mudslides. It's going to be dangerous. It'll be quite dangerous. So if you're living in the foothills, this is the time to get prepared.
So that's the question. What can we do, just everyday people, you and me, as we kind of live through this drought with dry conditions, with this alleged Godzilla El Nino that could hit,
which also may be hyperbolic.
Which may be hyperbolic, but you know, in some ways let it be. But in other ways, like you said, blessing and a curse. What do we do?
I would have my car facing downhill. It would already be packed. I would have the things that I want to get out fast, because when those storms come, you're not going to have time to think. You have to act. And I might actually take off before the storm hits, just not knowing what's coming. I think the same is true for somebody in a firestorm. If you're living in the fire zone...
What does that mean, a firestorm?
It means literally the fire is producing its own climate.
Wow.
Which is also why it's so unpredictable. So there was a huge fire in August in Idaho, blew up over to almost 300,000 acres. It created its own firenado, a tornado or fire. Sharknado. No, but it's creating, so all of a sudden the firefighters are standing there watching this thing coming towards them and flinging fire as if it were a tornado. Well, that has to give you pause.
I want you to come back. This is fascinating stuff, and it's important that we Californians be prepared. His name is Char Miller. He is a professor at Pomona College. My name is Brad Pomerance. You're watching Time Warner Cable's Local Edition.